In this video, I'm going to cover a whole bunch of tips for saving money on travel, whether you're just planning a vacation or whether you're trying your hand at long-term travel while working remotely. Make sure you stick around to the end because I will share a travel tip that I only learned about by accidentally spending $150 that I didn't need to spend. The most important thing for you to do before you plan anything is to make sure that, if at all possible, your travel dates don't coincide with holidays at home and at your destination. In North America, this means not traveling on or around Thanksgiving, Christmas, or spring break, for example. But a lot of people miss the part about checking for holidays at their destination. Holiday times abroad might mean overpriced flights, overbooked hotels, and an inability to book your desired tours and activities. But also, businesses might full on close and leave you with nothing to do on days when you would have preferred to schedule something. If you have limited time at your destination, this can be problematic. Next up, I have a bunch of flight-related travel hacks and budget travel tips. Always accumulate frequent flyer miles on flights. It doesn't cost you anything to sign up for an airline rewards program and to attribute the miles from your flight to that program. But there could be a huge opportunity cost if you don't get those miles and later on realize you could have subsidized or booked another trip entirely if you've been getting those miles all along. You will substantially elevate your frequent flyer mile game and save money on travel if you use credit cards that help you accumulate air miles. Credit cards often feature promotions with elevated sign-up bonuses that can give you enough miles to pay for a long-haul flight in business class. I had my first experience using miles for one of these flights about 12 years ago, and it was such an amazing experience that I made it my mission to fly all long-haul flights in business class. But here's the kicker. I do it for less than the price of an equivalent economy ticket. So keep your eye out for these sign-up bonuses. I'll include a link in the description to a free service that can help you out with this. And from a planning and budgeting perspective, it's important to know that you usually need to spend a certain amount of money to qualify for the sign-up bonus. So it's a good idea to know what major purchases and expenses you have coming up so you can meet a sign-up bonus threshold and rake in the miles for it. Major purchases aside, if you can earn air miles at any time for spending money that you would normally spend anyway, it's always a good idea. And one of the ways that you can do this is through using online shopping portals. Many airline programs have these portals available as extensions for your browser. And anytime you're shopping for something online, you might be able to accumulate miles for that purchase simply with an extra click of the mouse to go to your favorite online stores through the shopping portal. Now, this next tip doesn't have to do with frequent flyer miles, but it is definitely a travel hacking tip, and that is to use a credit card with free lounge access. Not only is relaxing in a lounge prior to your flight a delightful experience on the whole, but you can also save money because most airport lounges offer free food and drinks. This means even if you're flying in economy, you can fill up before your flight and you don't have to buy an overpriced meal at the airport or eat crappy airline food. If you're booking your flight with cash and not miles, I always suggest using a VPN to search for your flights, but in a very specific way. Set your VPN to the home country of the airline you want to fly with. Sometimes you may find that if the airline thinks that you're in their home country, they'll give you a better deal on airfare. This may also have something to do with the currency conversion rates, depending on your country of origin and the country of the airline. It is very much a hit or miss strategy as to whether or not you will save money, but it's generally worth a shot. I have another video specifically about how to book cheap flights, where I discuss things like the best days to book flights, how to get the lowest prices, and the biggest misconceptions about how to save money on flights that make people run around in circles completely unnecessarily. So while you're busy liking this video, make sure to check out the description for a link to my cheap flights video as well. All right, this is going to be my last tip about saving money on flights, but it's a doozy. Did you know that even after you book your flight, you might be eligible for a refund if the cost of that flight goes down? It's true. It happened to me last year when I booked a flight, just a regular non-refundable flight, and I checked the price of that flight a few weeks later and I noticed that the price had gone down by over $100. So with nothing to lose, I called customer service and I asked if I could get a price match to the current flight price. Frankly, I was expecting a no, so I was very pleasantly surprised when they gave me the difference in the flight prices in the form of an airline credit. Okay, on to the next category in this video featuring travel tips to save money on travel. And still go in style because, travel on a budget doesn't need to mean compromising comfort. This next tip is unconventional to be sure. It will not only save you a ton of money on your travels, but it can also provide a really unique, culturally rewarding experience. And that is to get your accommodation for free. I literally wrote the book on how to get your accommodation for free, and I saved over $100,000 in my first 10 years of full-time travel by using some of these methods. There are 5 ways to get your accommodation for free when you travel, specifically volunteering, house sitting, home exchanges, hospitality exchanges, and even living on boats. Depending on the type of travel you're doing, some of these forms of free accommodation may be more suitable than others. But if you want a travel experience that is a little bit out of the ordinary, I highly recommend looking into this style of travel. Check the description for more resources on this. If you'd prefer to stay in hotels rather than do the free accommodation thing, that's all good, no judgment here. I'm in a hotel right now. When searching for hotels, make sure you check a few different websites, including the hotel's website, because you might find there will be some price discrepancies. When you see these, you can ask for a price match. Just get a screenshot of the lowest price you found, then contact the booking platform that you'd most like to book your stay through, and ask them if they'll match the price on the other website. Me, I like to book directly with hotels. The fewer middlemen there are, the lesser the chances are that something can go wrong. And generally speaking, you get the best price as well. If you are traveling with a group, you will almost always save big money if, instead of renting a bunch of hotel rooms, you rent a villa with lots of rooms in it. Generally speaking, this will also enhance your group experience, as the amenities at the villa will probably be more luxurious and or more comfortable than what a similarly priced hotel will offer. Common areas and fully equipped kitchens are just the icing on the cake. I want to segue now into a few financial tips that will help you save money on travel just by making sure that you have the right tools at your disposal. For example, make sure that your bank account allows for free foreign ATM withdrawals. It's as simple as checking online or contacting your bank to see what your account allows, and perhaps making some adjustments. It could save you big money if you have to get cash at your destination multiple times at $5 a pop. Speaking of ATMs, I made a video about the top international ATM mistakes that you will definitely want to check out, because using an ATM abroad is not quite the same as using one at home. And if you don't know some of these nuances, you can lose a lot of money, like hundreds of dollars. Also, make sure that you're using a credit card with no foreign transaction fees, also expressed as no FX fees. This will effectively save you up to 3% on everything that you spend abroad. It's a sneaky, invisible charge that if you don't know about it, will cost you a lot more than you need to spend. Next up, let's dive into the top ways for saving money on travel at your destination. Taxis and Ubers to and from airports are notoriously expensive, with airport surcharges that destroy travel budgets. So try searching for public transportation options that can get you to and from the airport. Rome to Rio and Google Maps are excellent for finding various ways to get from A to B. This next tip encompasses not only one of my absolute favorite things to do at any destination, but it also happens to be a huge money saver, and that is to shop at supermarkets. Not only do I find it a fascinating experience of seeing what's available, how people eat, shop, cook, and buy things, but also if you're shopping at the supermarket rather than eating in restaurants all the time, you will of course inherently save money. Supermarkets often have pre-made meals available, or you can get a few breakfast items and just keep them at your accommodation, even if you don't have a refrigerator. When I was house sitting in Switzerland, people kept asking me how I could afford to spend the summer there. But the reality was, because I was living locally and getting my accommodation for free and shopping at supermarkets, my cost to travel and live in Switzerland for 2 months was actually quite reasonable. Next up, I want to share a tip that is not only a great way to save money on travel, but it's also environmentally responsible. And that is to carry a reusable water bottle. It doesn't have to take up a lot of room in your suitcase. In fact, this one that I have here actually rolls up when it's empty. And if you're traveling in a country where the tap water isn't drinkable, you can bring a very small water filter with you. I have some suggestions in the description. And when you use that in conjunction with your refillable water bottle, that means you don't have to buy bottled water all the time, which will save you both money and plastic waste. I feel like this next tip is obvious, but just in case there was any doubt, room service at a hotel? Never a good deal. Even ordering direct from a restaurant with something like Uber Eats will almost categorically save you money over ordering room service. And frankly, is room service ever that good? I don't know, maybe I order the wrong stuff, but I've never gotten my money's worth. When it comes to planning stuff at your destination, there are a few things that you can do that will save you big money. The first thing I do when I arrive to a new place is I book a free walking tour. Not only does this help me get acquainted with my destination, but the tour guide is usually quite knowledgeable about their hometown, and they can share tips and tricks with me about places to eat, things to do, and things to avoid as well. Just be aware that a free walking tour isn't completely free. The tour guide is donating their time and energy to give walking tours in the expectation of getting a tip at the end. The tip is discretionary and you can spend as much or as little as you want, but I encourage you to think about how much you would like to receive if the roles were reversed. Now, I'm really partial to this next tip, which may or may not actually save you money, but it will almost certainly enhance your experience of shopping for souvenirs. Instead of just buying random souvenirs that are available at all the souvenir shops, why not choose an item that your destination is specifically known for and use your souvenir shopping time to find the best version of that item that you'd like to buy? For example, when in Turkey, wouldn't it be cool to find the perfect set of Turkish towels that you can use at home every day to remind you of your trip? All right, home stretch. This is the last tip, but certainly not the least important. In fact, it could save you the most money of any of the tips in this video. Be very careful about using your cell phone abroad, depending on the plan that you have. If you have a traditional monthly phone plan, make sure you turn off all roaming before you leave the country. And if your phone is factory unlocked, use local SIM cards or get a global data eSIM. Don't be fooled into thinking that having your phone on for just a few texts and maybe a short phone call is a good idea. It's not, and it could cost you hundreds of dollars. Trust me, it happened to me once and never again. I've left some info in the description to help you not follow in my footsteps on that one. Do you have any hot budget travel tips that I haven't covered? Leave me a comment so we can all learn to travel smart, in style, together. My name is Nora Dunn. I'm otherwise known as the Professional Hobo, and thank you for watching.
With